All right, welcome back. Hello to the vinyl community. Hopefully things are good where you are. Here the weather is certainly getting better. Earlier this week it was cold and rainy for early September, but now it is getting warmer, sunnier, so the weekend's looking pretty good. Okay, I thought we'd take a look at some recent finds in this edition. These are various albums that I found on vinyl, used of course, and generally at reasonable prices. I'm kind of cheap that way. I don't like to spend too much on used vinyl, but yeah, get what we can, sort of thing. All right, nice variety for you for this edition. Thought we'd start it off with the debut of Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys on Polydor. This was from 1969, the album The Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away. Okay, and this album, of course, is of note because it was produced by Jimi Hendrix along with the band. Jimi Hendrix and the band Cat Mother shared the same manager, a fellow by the name of Michael Jeffrey. Cat Mother used to open for Jimi Hendrix upon occasion, so there you have the connection. Now, if you're looking for Hendrix-style guitar, blues-heavy stuff, you're not going to find it on this album. The lead-off single, or the single most noted for, is Good Old Rock and Roll, and basically it's like a medley or a mashup of songs like Sweet Little 16, Long Tall Sally, Chantilly Lace, whole lot of shaking going on, all in a rockin' kind of groove there. That's not indicative of the album. Overall, it's got a good kind of CCR sound, kind of the Young Bloods, a little bit of that organ kind of thing going on, late 60s kind of feel to it. Overall, it's a good album, and it gets better with every listen. And yeah, you can check that out. That's their debut album, Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys. Okay, now this one is a budget release. Found this one. This is Jeff Beck's first two albums, Truth and Beckola, as a sort of double package, if you will. There's no gatefold on this one, so this is definitely like a budget release. As you can see, Jeff Beck, Ronnie Wood, Rod Stewart together. So yeah, two records set, basically a reissue. I'm not sure when this reissue came out, likely sometime in the 70s. Because these albums were released, as I recall, 1968, 1969. But as I mentioned, there's no gatefold. It's just two albums inside. And what's interesting to note is that they don't have the one album called Truth and the other album called Beckola. They simply carry on with the idea that this is Jeff Beck. It is Truth / Beckola, and then you have like side 3, side 4, side 1, side 2, that sort of thing. But I mean, great music, and certainly a nice budget release, that sort of thing. Okay, this next one is pretty much a jazz classic. I was very happy to find this for a nice, reasonable price. Weather Report, Heavy Weather. Just for that cover alone, fantastic. And of course, just a great listen. Wayne Shorter, you've got such talented musicians on this album. It really is an absolute all-time classic. Just a great sound. All right, so here's an album I didn't know anything about, and I think I just picked it up because of the cover that struck me. So this is the album, and the band's name is Ambergris or Ambergris. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. So that's the cover, exactly the same on the back. So when I was looking at it, inside, so there you have that cover, and there you have the band, what appears to be eating chicken or rooster, shall we say. Very nice. Looked on it, and according to this, ambergris, or ambergris, however it's pronounced, is actually a rare, opaque substance usually found floating on the ocean, used in perfume, a valuable mix. I'll let you Google as to actually what that substance is. I won't get into it right now, so I'll let you Google that. But I was looking at it, didn't really know too much about it. Saw that it was produced by Steve Cropper, so that piqued my interest. Of course, Steve Cropper from Booker T and the MGs. And then saw that Jerry Weiss was involved in this, and he was from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And that pretty much sets the stage. This is really kind of an offshoot from Blood, Sweat, and Tears from their early days. As far as I understand, they only made one album, and it's a rockin' album. If you like that sort of Chicago lighthouse kind of sound, big horns, Blood, Sweat, and Tears kind of sound, with also some great guitar, this is a powerhouse of an album. Ambergris, and quite the cover. And yeah, speaking of which, I was thrilled to find this for a reasonable price, too. This is Mike Bloomfield, Al Kooper, and Stephen Stills, their Super Session album on quadraphonic. So, again, just such a classic album. Interesting to note that they don't all appear together. Mike Bloomfield, Stephen Stills, and Al Kooper. Al Kooper appears with Mike Bloomfield on a couple of tracks, and then Al Kooper appears with Stephen Stills on a couple of tracks. So they don't actually all appear together. But man, this is a great album, and yeah, pick this up for a reasonable price. Not quite as low as $5.98 that it said here on the label, but it was still in. It's at least in some sort of cellophane wrap still. So yeah, I was really thrilled to find that. Okay, we got some Canadian stuff, some CanCon. We got the Powder Blues Band. This is their debut uncut. Now, this is the reissue on RCA. This was originally on the Blue Wave label. And apparently when they put this on RCA, they cut one of the songs, which I don't quite know why they did that. But so the original was a 10-song album, and this is a 9-song album. But it's got some great stuff. Boppin' with the Blues, Doing It Right, Sweet Little Girl. Just a great, kind of a very underrated band in terms of the great blues swing, a nice horn section, nice up songs. Powder Blues Band, uncut. And I think this album, as I recall, went double platinum in Canada. So they sold a few records. And interesting to find this one. I've always been a big fan of FM, certainly FM in their early days. Black Noise, a fantastic album. This is when you were getting FM into the 1980s, when they were kind of compromising their sound. They were really trying to go for hits. This big hit on this one was Just Like You. This does feature the original lineup, though. They've had members come and go, but this does feature Nash the Slash, Cameron Hawkins, and Martin Deller, so the original lineup. Interesting that Ben Mink, who was also with the band, plays electric guitars on this one. Not a bad album, not a great album. Just Like You is not a bad tune, but you're really starting to feel that kind of 80s vibe going on. But you don't see this too often, so again, it was at a reasonable price. FM Contest. Okay. Kind of a lost album, if you will, especially if you're a Moody Blues fan. This is Justin Hayward and John Lodge for Blue Jays. And they made this album when Moody Blues were taking a break from things in the 70s. Initially, this was going to be a Mike Pidner and Justin Hayward project, and then Mike Pidner decided to drop out, so then it was Justin and John together for this album, Blue Jays. Lush, it's a great Moody Blues record. What can you say? Beautiful, lush orchestration. Nice gatefold there, and it comes with a nice insert here. Gives you the full lyrics. It's not really Mellotron. Instead, they're kind of going with a little bit more orchestration on this one. But an absolutely lovely album. Kind of a... This would have been, I believe, a North American release since it's on the London label. But yeah, really nice album. Okay, we're going back to 1970 for this one. I was very happy to see this one. This is Renaissance's first album, the very strange offshoot of the Yardbirds. Because in this band we have Keith Ralph, also Jim McCarty. It was produced by Paul Samuel Smith. This band also features Keith's sister on lead vocals. This original lineup did not stick around. The band is still going, but with, I don't think, any of the original members. This is described as progressive rock. It's a lot more sort of progressive folk. It's really got a heavy folk rock feel to it, but it is a very enjoyable album. And I don't know a lot about Renaissance. I don't know how indicative this is of the rest of their music, but this first album is really enjoyable. Okay. And I've also picked this one up on CD just recently, which is well recorded. This is Grateful Dead, Pacific Northwest, 73 to 74. Believe It If You Need It. And so this is a triple CD set featuring performances including the Pacific National Exhibition Coliseum in Vancouver, BC, which is very cool. And also there's performances in Portland at the Portland Memorial Coliseum. And just a great live So you can see some of the tracks there. It also has the track playing in the band, and I kept the hype sticker. When I have some kind of situations like this where I'm not quite sure where to put the hype sticker, I put it on the inside. Makes a nice little surprise. And this talks about that the longest single uninterrupted song the Grateful Dead ever played is playing in the band, and I think it clocks in at over 45 minutes on disc 2. So great sound, a little rough around the edges at times in terms of the performance, but hey, it's the Grateful Dead, and definitely worth checking out. So those are some of the recent finds that I've had, and we'll check in again real soon. If you like what you're seeing here, hit subscribe and leave a comment or two. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.